Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. Okay, what do you do when the leader of arguably the most powerful country in the world and maybe ever is threatening to take territory from your sovereign nation? Well, world leaders right now are pushing back not with threats, but with sarcasm, ridicule. So, Donald Trump just recently, I don't know what he's trying to distract from, but he's trying to distract. So he's talking about, renaming the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. The president of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum Pardo, opened up a news conference in Mexico City today, which is Wednesday, January 8th, with the 17th century map of North and South America as a backdrop. She, quote, obviously the Gulf of Mexico is recognized by the United Nations, but why don't we call this Mexican America, pointing to an area on the map that would correspond to the United States? After all, Mexico owned the entire West Coast at one point. And it's a wonderful clapback at Trump. Doug Ford, who is the head minister in Ontario, the province of Ontario, was interviewed, and he was being sarcastic with Trump, and then he was sarcastic about Trump. And when a reporter asked him, what do you do when Trump, because he says, Trump just likes to joke around a lot. He goes, well, what do you do when Trump's joking? Or maybe if he's not joking. And Doug Ford kind of got serious for a second and said, you know what? We are never merging with the United States, becoming the 51st state. And if basically said, if Trump doesn't knock it off, I'm serious. He needs to knock it off. Basically, it's like your parent scolding an adolescent child who's not behaving appropriately in an event. And they've tried to laugh it off. They've tried to, kind of cut this adolescent some slack, and now the parents are like, no, just stop. The chancellor for Germany basically pushed back and said the EU is not going to stand by and let the United States invade Greenland, which is a part of the EU. It's owned by Denmark. What is going on that Trump, he wants to take the Panama Canal. He wants to, basically absorb Canada. So now he's not even calling it an invasion. He's saying it would be a merger, like he's ever done a merger in his life. And then he wants Greenland to vote their way out of Denmark and into the United States. Oh, and let's not forget Elizabeth May, who's the Green Party. Thank you, everybody, for posting comments. A Green Party PM who basically offered to have California, Oregon, and Washington become the 11th province of Canada, and they would name it Cascadia. So all these leaders, especially in Canada, are really pushing back and using sarcasm as a weapon against Donald Trump. And I say sarcasm because it's like they aren't taking him seriously. The reporter in Germany said, you have the president of the most powerful nation in the world threatening to invade a country. When are you going to take him seriously? Once the Marines have landed? And the German prime minister, I don't believe he answered that question. And I think part of it is that they understand that it's not going to happen. It just won't. This guy is such a braggart, and he's not to be taken seriously. But the problem is he is, in 2 weeks' time, scheduled to be the leader of the most powerful country in the world. So it's almost like there's one of two things happening. Either they feel there's going to be enough resistance that Trump, he's a buffoon and won't get anything done that he's threatening to do. Or maybe they know something we don't know, that he ain't getting in. Either one of those could work. But I want to read on the energy of world leaders as they deal with Donald Trump, because they are taking a much different tact with him this time. Much like how Congress is pushing back on his ridiculous claims of things he wants to do, they're pretty much saying, no, we're not going to do that. No, we're not going to put 25% tariffs across the board. No, we're not going to deport 10 million illegal immigrants. No, we're not going to invade Panama, Mexico, do military actions in Mexico, absorb Canada, we're going to invade Greenland. Anyways, I realize it can be alarming, and if it was any other president, it would be alarming, but this guy is just a clown. I just don't know why we keep going to the same circus. Okay, so for entertainment purposes only, again, give me a read on the world leaders and why the energy around them as they deal with Trump the second time around, and why it's so different. Foundation of the reading is the Lover's card. I think when Trump first got in 2017, after winning the 2016 election, allegedly, he's a populist president, and they needed to sort of figure out what their relationship was going to be. This was all new to the EU and our neighbors to the north and south. After watching the clown show in the dumpster fire that was his first term, they had Biden in there, and Biden repaired relationships. Now you've got Trump coming in again, and I think they just recognize that Trump he does not speak for Americans. Lord knows what they had to do to get him the Electoral College win. And by they, I don't mean the European unions. I mean those who shifted the election. But I think they understand who America and the leaders are, and Donald Trump is not it. And they're standing up for each other. There's a unification of non-U.S. countries joining forces in pushing back on Trump's ridiculous brags, boasting that he's doing. And part of it is, and I was waiting for this card to come up, but I was going to do it on a slightly different part of it. Trump ran on what one might call kitchen table issues. We ran on inflation, going to get inflation down. Price of eggs are ridiculous. Got to drill, baby, drill. How does invading Greenland lower the price of eggs? How does, taking over the Panama Canal, how does that lower energy prices? The things he said, or, getting rid of taxes on overtime. What the kitchen table he's run on, he's now backing away from. So now he's coming up with these great, bold sells that he's coming up with that nobody's taking seriously. Well, maybe the MAGA folks are taking it seriously, but there's a unification. It's almost like the rest of the world has a common enemy and they're binding up to it. And they're treating him like a child. A mother with a child. Remember I used the term an insolent adolescent, or an adolescent with inappropriate behavior? They're treating him like a child. And they've gone past the coddling stage. Now they're going to the parenting stage. In the past, Queen of Cups, they kept their mouth shut, basically. In the past, they just kept their mouth shut. They didn't know if Trump was a mandate or not. They didn't know if this was the new America and it was the way the United States was going to be going forward. Biden came in, showed them that wasn't the case. And now that's in the past. Now they're expressing something. I'm seeing a layered reading here. And I'll come back to that. Current situation is the Empress. Trump comes across as a prima donna, and they're pointing out that he's a prima donna who just sits back and, demands things like a little debutante, and they're pushing back. America's got all of everything. They don't need to start invading our neighbors. And what kind of neighbor invades your neighbors, you know? It's almost a thing Russia would do, like in Ukraine. And I think I've used that example before. You know, and when I tried to explain, you know, kind of Russia invading Ukraine, it would be like the United States invading Canada. It's that same vibe. That's the impression I got was the relationships between the Ukrainian people and the Russian people was close. It was tight. And I don't know if it's as close and tight as, say, Americans and the Canadians, but I'm sure it's in the neighborhood. That we couldn't picture a scenario where we're invading Canada. It just wouldn't happen. And Trump's also saying, we don't want Canada for the oil or the lumber. Yeah, if you're going to invade Canada, that's exactly why you're doing it. What are you doing it for? The monopoly on Canadian geese? To have maybe the best hockey team in the world for the Olympics or something? You know, I don't know. It's not like you're trying to make a better soccer team. That's not why you'd be invading them. Maybe it's because poutine will become the national food of the United States. It's so good. Overarching energy is the devil. It's Trump. It's just Trump being Trump. But I think they're done with him. Look at all these women here. That's pretty much a woman. 2, 3, 4, 5. Just women being done with him. Lesson to be learned is the truth. When they call him out, he can double down, but they're just going to be defiant. No, go ahead, try it. You're not going to do anything. You're just lazy. They're almost, in a way, they're showing the world how lazy and entitled this guy is. They're giving the world a lesson. When, remember, every accusation is confession. Trump often says the world's laughing at us, which means that one of the worst things you can do to Donald Trump is laugh at him, to mock him. He's so thin-skinned to begin with, and that's like right through any defenses that he has up there. It goes right to his ego. Now again, is he doing this to distract from something? Probably. But at the same time, the fact that they're not taking him seriously, even when reporters say you should be taking this seriously, they're like, why would I? Who's this guy? That's going to be the outcome. Queen of Wands, another female card. Look at all the females here. And we got Queen of Pentacles, Queen of Wands, Queen of Cups. You got the Empress and the Three of Cups. Where's my Queen of Swords when you need them? Outcome of the Queen of Wands. They're going to continue this behavior. It works. They may not goad him. Don't get me wrong. I don't think they're going to goad him and say, oh yeah, go ahead and try it, see what happens. I don't think they're going to go that route. I think they're just going to push back. He starts talking, they push back. What makes a man look weaker when he's trying to bully somebody than when he's mocked and ridiculed, when humor is used as a counterfoil to their attacks? Sarcasm's deadly when wielded in the right hands. Oh crap. I said I was going to do a layered reading and now I just totally obliterated it. The other part I was talking about, let's see if I can actually remember the cards now. The other part I was talking about was maybe they're pushing back because they know something that we don't know, or something that's not been revealed yet. So your Lover's card are our closest allies understanding what's happening from a NATO point of view, for those wink, wink, nudge, nudge moments, and that the Three of Cups is that the agreements with NATO and NATO countries is being celebrated. Then we had in the past we had the Queen of Cups. So they're keeping quiet. This is about election interference. Keeping quiet about it. Current situation was the Empress. You know, things they call the election interference, the way that the votes were manipulated on the machines, they call it the Russian tail, because it was software used in Russia to allow Putin to be president for life. And the way that the data doesn't go into a nice smooth bell curve, you know, instead that's like part of the left curve is missing and it's dumped on the right part, where like, you know, 0.5 to 5% of the votes should be is now 20% of the votes. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't happen naturally. It happens when there's manipulation on there. The overarching energy would be the corruption, the corruption in the elections. And so that double card would be, you know, your Putin, your Xi Jinping, Donald Trump, and the people that would keep them in power. And then the lesson to be learned was the Sun card. Truth is going to come out. It's coming out. And that's why these leaders, I think that's why these leaders aren't taking him seriously, because they know he's not going to be in power. So why take him seriously? Why not mock him? Have your fun now. Why pretend to be all scared when you know he's not going to go in there? Like there's a game afoot. That's why I'm saying. And then the Queen of Wands comes in again about the actions that are going to be taken coming up. So that's what I meant by it being a layered reading. There's the reason why they aren't taking him seriously. My cards up there. And then we do a little four-carder. Why? Is there something they don't know? That didn't make sense. Is there something they know that we don't know? That's what I meant to say. Is there something they know that we don't know, which is why they're just mocking him? Because they, you know, is there something they know that would prevent Donald Trump from becoming the inaugurated president of the United States, actually leading the United States? Is that why they're mocking him so badly and just trolling him and dragging him? Because why wouldn't you? You know, can you imagine? You know, somebody's like, you know, when they're holding a gun and then you suddenly realize it's a water pistol. It's not really a gun. You know, oh yeah, I'm so scared. Oh, please don't shoot me. You know. What are you going to do? Hit me? You're going to throw that gun at me? That's going to be way more dangerous than you pulling the trigger. You know, that type of mindset. Is there something they know that they're not sharing? Which is why they're mocking him. The Devil card again. Let's see. Two of Wands, planning. Fighting from a position of advantage. Money and agreements. As much as I want to say election, I don't think it is. I think it's just an understanding that Trump's in there for now. But, you know, kind of like they've all agreed that if Trump gets in, they're going to be united and beat him down. Because remember, Trump is a divider. He's not a uniter, he's a divider. So he wins by dividing and conquering, making things smaller and smaller. So if they present a united front, he doesn't know what to do with that. People don't do that to him. It sends him back to the drawing board. Not to mention, it'll cost Trump money because he starts looking weak. And if they have a united front, it's like a union. And now the united front allows you to negotiate better deals. Because now the bluster doesn't mean anything. It would be like if folks in Congress, especially on the right side of the political aisle, no longer cared about mean tweets. Or if social media went away. Think about how ineffective Donald Trump would be if there was no social media. Because he relies on bullying people to get them to do things. Or getting his minions to threaten them. Imagine if he didn't have a platform to do that from. He would be worthless if he couldn't get his message out. So, is it an election thing? It doesn't look like it by those cards. It just looks like they're banding together and presenting a united front because they know they can do that. He has no skills. He has no coping mechanism for something like that. And they'll just band together and he'll back down. because that's who he is. All right. Anything else I want to throw on that? Okay, just because I asked, for Carter, do they know something that we don't know about? I just asked that. Well, I'll just ask. Do they know something we don't know about the election being stolen? I'll just flat out ask that. Page of Pentacles. Fun me, fun me, fun me. Because this is the card that keeps coming up every time I ask about the inauguration. It's just 3 times now. By the way, I hate this card. No offense, Page of Pentacles, but I hate you. I was joking that this is Trump's teeny tiny crowd size. There's new opportunity, this new game afoot. And it's looking really small right now that nobody knows about it. Involves the corruption and the best of the United States. And then there's that money, that looking for things, bringing things to an end. They absolutely might. Once I don't know if I'll ever figure out what this card is. Even in retrospect, I may not know. But even if Trump were to get inaugurated, it's like he's done before he even starts. Because he's only in it for the money and to avoid court cases. He won't actually do anything. Even his big, beautiful budget bill that he wants to put in there, he can't decide if he wants 1 bill or 2 bills. The Republicans in the Senate are saying they want it to be 2 bills. The Republican in the House want it to be 1 bill. Trump says he doesn't care. That's because Trump's an idiot. He's not strategic at all. He just blathers things and then just latches on to whatever's good. If there were polling showing that the American people wanted in 5 bills, he would suddenly be saying, well, why don't we do 5 bills? Because then his popularity would be high. Do they know something? It's like there's something being built in the background that they're not showing. It's like Santa's workshop before Christmas. You know, you're not seeing the product, but that doesn't mean they're not working like crazy. It's the 8th of January as I record this. It's 12 days to the inauguration. If Susan Lynn's right, we may not get to the inauguration before shenanigans happen. But take some solace is that, you know, for as dire as we fear things could be in the United States, the rest of the world is mocking Donald Trump. Oh, yeah, let's ask that, right? Come on. How's Donald Trump feeling about being mocked? Does he even notice it? Because, you know, if he's not believing anything he's saying, he's not going to care too much. But if he's hearing about the pushback from these different world leaders, you know, his ego can't take that. He's got to be right 100% of the time, even on the stuff he's lying about. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, if he was swearing up and down that 10 plus 10 is 100, he's going to go to the grave saying 10 plus 10 is 100. How dare you challenge him, and he should launch nukes at you to get you to back down, you know, puff himself and make himself all big. How's he feeling with the mocking? King of Pentacles. I guess President Musk doesn't care. The Magician, the Fool, there you go. And the Devil card, wow. And the Disappointment. This is... He's not as... It's reminding him that he's not as powerful and in control as he used to be. He tries to present himself as this, but everybody is starting to see this. That he's not, you know, he's not Elon Musk, he's a fool. No matter what type of image he tries to create, he's really this. And people are seeing the corruption in this person more than they're seeing the illusion that he's been trying to manifest and perpetuate since the 1980s. They just see him as an idiot. And he's seeing that they're seeing him as an idiot. And they're calling him out. And I think his feelings are a little bit hurt because he feels like he's done... You know, he's such a victim. But I've done all this for you. He's such a martyr, too. I've done all this for you, and you guys don't appreciate it. And then he tries to get all blustery. It's bothering him. Because, again, the facade that he tries to put up that he's this wealthy, powerful, shot caller of a man. And he's just this very, very small person. And he's being called out on it. It's there for everybody to see. We will see how he responds in the next couple of days. I think I'll put the thumbnail of Mexican America up there just for extra mockery fun. Thank you very much for watching this video and supporting my channel. I appreciate it. This reading is for entertainment purposes only, but I hope you found it insightful, and I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.